would feel more confident, like many, I feel, if someone else came in, even if it's just an interim coach, interim boss for a set time, just to get maybe that new manager bounce, get a new voice speaking to the players. We've seen it before, of course. Clement got it when he came in. Michael Beale got it. Gio got it as well. Do you think that's what's required heading into these games? I think the outcome is going to be heavy defeats in these big games coming up next month.
The difficulty that Rangers have got coming up these next few weeks is the number of games, the number of must-win games, and the number of difficult games that between now and, say, the Old Firm at Ibrox in January, it's such a huge run and such a defining run. Can you go and pitch a new manager into it? The decision that we all think should be made and that we all think will be made at some point should have been done a fortnight ago, to then give you a manager in during the international break, to give them as much preparation time as possible to then head into this run. We speak about these tranches of games. The first one was on Saturday, and Rangers are blowing it already. If it was that evident to a number of people, should have been evident to the Rangers board how this is going to unfold. The decision should have been made a couple of weeks ago to then give whoever is going to be the new manager, whether it's an interim one until the end of the season, whether it's a new manager on a permanent deal. They've almost missed the boat, and you now get into this run. So starting on Nice on Thursday, you're then straight back into domestic issues. St Johnstone away, Kelly at Ibrox, Ross County away. Games that Rangers have to win, but would you back them to go and pick up anything in those games? They're all potentially difficult games for Rangers right now. Spurs, obviously, Celtic, obviously after that. But even then, it's Dundee at Ibrox. Who knows what kind of mood Ibrox is going to be in by then? St Mirren to come, and then Motherwell, and then obviously heading into the Old Firm game. So these are all games that, with a proper setup and a different manager, you would back Rangers to go and do something in. But do you go and put a new manager in right now and say, by the way, there's the run, you need to win every one of these games because we're 9 points or a fair distance behind Celtic and Aberdeen. You've also got an Old Firm game, and you've got a League Cup final against Celtic. It's not exactly an enticing proposition for a new manager right now. So I know people expected at 10 o'clock on Sunday to be a club statement. Rangers have sacked the manager. It's not going to happen. All the stuff last night, all the WhatsApps and all the tweets and all the social media chat obviously came to nothing as we reported. These situations are going to unfold. You're going to get a WhatsApp at some point. You're going to get a tweet at some point over the next few days saying, "I've heard." The decision, I think as we agree on, will be made. Has to be made. The timing of it is the biggest thing for the Rangers board now. And what do they want to give a new manager as his first couple of games?
Yep, I've got a little clip. Jack Butland, of course, spoke after the game as well. Quizzed on whether the players and the squad understand the demands of playing for a club like Rangers. This is what he had to say.
I hope so. It's something that we try and reinforce all the time. If the building, the training ground aren't reminders of the success, then I don't know what can be. It's not like any other club. It's a special place, and it demands it all the time, day in, day out, from us all. And that's what it needs to be from, I think for most, it's been there the whole time. Others, if they haven't learned it, they need to learn it quick. That's on guys like me, everybody, to like I said a minute ago, step up and do better, because that's what the shirt deserves.
So there's Jack Butland speaking. Joshua, just looking at some of sort of big talking points from the game itself. I mean, James Tavernier didn't start. I thought that was a bit of a surprise. I was pleased to see Dujon start the match. Elsewhere, you mentioned there before, Danilo coming on. For me, I'd have been starting them. Hadji coming on at half-time. For me, I said it, I think on Friday or Thursday, even earlier points last week. Start Hadji. He's just come off the back of a man-of-the-match performance for Romania. He's confident he'll be in the mood, and it'll lift the fans. Turning up at Ibrox in that freezing cold afternoon on Saturday, it would just lift the mood, having someone that is wanting to create and get on the ball. Mohamed Diamande as a 10 doesn't work. He had another poor game. I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think he's been used properly. Hadji is a much better option. I'd love to see Bayrami as a 10 as well, and not played out on the left anymore. Just move Jefty up, bring in Robbie Fraser, bring in Ridvan. Of course, he made his return. Do something, but he doesn't help himself, I think, with his player selection. Joshua, what do you make of that? And Jack Butland's comments here.
Yeah, well, if you watch the start of that press conference, Butland's asked, and he obviously talks very well. I know that's a football cliche alert, but he does. And at the start of that press conference, he was asked just like an opening question, what went wrong? And he paused for like 5 or 6 seconds, and I don't think it was for a dramatic effect, but I think you could tell he was thinking, without wanting to give stock answers, and he's someone, to think, to his credit, who does front up very consistently in these type of difficult moments. He, remember, gave the press conference the day before Michael Beale lost his job just over a year ago, and Rangers lost at home to Aberdeen. And what he came back to was a lack of intensity, and it's what we've referenced already, I think, in the podcast, is that it took Dundee United going ahead and conceding territory for Rangers to really create any openings that weren't shots from distance. I think that starting 11, it's confusing to look at how Clement, if you're approaching that game, because Dessers isn't going to link play, and we know his limitations as a player, because, as you say, Diomande isn't a creative profile compared to maybe Hadji. I agree with you. I still think he's a good player. I think he's in a very difficult moment, and we can talk as to why that is, Derek. But it looked like a setup that Rangers should take away to Olympiacos, and effectively was the starting 11, give or take, the Rangers start. Was it the exact team Rangers started in Olympiacos? I think it might have been.
Selling started, proper. I think it may have been, yeah.
No,
Let us know in the comments, folks, if we've got that wrong.
I think it was. The Rangers obviously pretty good in that first half. This is such a different game. There's space in behind. We've spoken about it, so not to repeat ourselves. And that is that last season, Clement made an interesting comment where he said last season we won these type of games. And I thought his press conference was slightly different as well. I don't know what Chris thought, but even the fact that he referenced credit in the bank or kind of spoke about external noise, he's not really done that before, or done that recently to my mind. But that was but he also spoke about the fact that last season we won these types of games and we managed to push the margins in our favour. Last season, I've not got lots of numbers to back this up, but it felt like to me Rangers were going in behind defences more consistently. They were going direct more consistently, but the style of play question wasn't as big a topic because they were getting results. This season, as they've tried to become a little bit more patient and controlled, what's happened is you've had a lot of games where they've maybe not conceded a ton of opportunities, but they've hardly created anything as well, because they need that space to go in behind to link up to their striker. When Danilo comes on, that changes, because while he misses an opportunity he should score, he immediately links with Cherney and gives you different options, and suddenly Rangers' attack becomes a lot more unpredictable. But that first half lack of intensity, while they created opportunities in the second half, put them in such a difficult position. And again, that's not a new discussion, is it? That's something I think you could have talked about.
There's no excuse for that. Yeah, there's no excuse for that. They've had 2 weeks. I know some players have been off on international duty, but they should have been working on things in that 2-week period.